So here's our first planted corn. At the end of the video, it'll be a video of planting corn. And you'll see this field getting planted. It's our little 1 acre field. Right here is where we first dropped our 6-row. First plants we planted with it. Right here. That's right on the end against the grass, so that's why. Down here, first pass with the 6-row was this. This spot kind of got drowned out really early in the year. That's kind of why it's more brown than down here. But this is first planted 103-day corn at I think 36,000 population. We set it for 34, but it seems like the planter planted 2,000 plants heavier, because after we got done planting this field and that one over there, we did the calculations and it definitely was planting heavier. So this field and that field are the same number, 103-day, planted back to back, like finished this one and right over. You can see us in that field planting too. Same corn planting video. And it still has a ways to go, but it's coming along. This is our farthest along field, which makes sense. It's one of the shorter day numbers we got planted first, so outside round for you, weed pressure. So I don't know, looks decent, I guess. This spot's real brown, but I'll show you the corn head. We got that all ready to go. Finally. There's that spot up there, it's a little shorter. That spot really got flooded out because all the water that comes off this shed and hill just flows right into that little low spot there. But that's only for 2 rows for what, 20-foot section. So already, but I'm going to show you the parts we replaced on the corn head. This little section of floor here, there's a hole here, and then when we got it out, it kind of cracked because it's so thin. And then the long sheet, which maybe we could have got away with 1 year, but it's starting to get holes in it. And there's a hole there, so it was borderline, but we figured we replaced it because this one had a pretty good hole in it, and it's easier to get both at the same time. And I'll show you in a little bit of the bad engineering on the corn head. But to get the plate out, we had to take a bunch of other parts off. And along the way, we found some war parts, like this sprocket. That's bad. Like, these are razor sharp. That's bad. This probably would have lasted us maybe a day if we were lucky. And we would have been broke down the first day, and probably another day or so till we got her fixed. And then the other sprocket we replaced too. But look at this chain. This is all the side play in it. See that? This chain is not supposed to, you know, bend that way at all. So yeah, that chain's pretty wore out. It's supposed to ride in a straight line, and to tell if it's wore out. Yeah. I'll show you what we did on the combine corn head. It was a disaster. It took us about 5 days. Also, we got the combine set for corn, everything back here. Cylinder speed, concave, fan RPM, all that's set. But you can see this is a section of floor that was still good, but those two, you can see the green paint. Looking back now, we would have just bought in plastic and riveted in, but we didn't know anything about it until, you know, after the fact, which always happens. We thought, unbolt the floor and it'll just, you know, squeeze right out of there and don't have to take anything apart. Well, that was not even close. So what you have to do first is you got to take all your center snoots off, completely off the machine. There's 2 clips under here you clip, then you point the thing straight in the air, and you loosen the clip, and you slide it off. There you go. Those aren't too bad, but the next thing you have to do is take this plate off, and if I get under here, there's a shaft right here, which goes into a part on the row units, and it drives the row units. You gotta pull this shaft out that way, and one on the other side that way. Also, you have to take this piece off too, to get it back lined in, which is a bolt on each end. Also, while I'm under here, I'll show you all the bolts for the new piece. Here, here, and then back under here, hidden up in there, there's the other set of bolts. And those are kind of pain in the ass to get to. They did not design this very well, at least in my books, and there's a bunch of bolts. When you think you have all the bolts off, you don't. You got like 10 more to go. So you can see the whole section in here. And then to get these back bolts underneath the feeder house, you have to drop the head off to get those. You have to take the head off the combine. But you have to have the head on the combine to get the front bolts. So it's just so time consuming and pain in the ass, especially when they don't want to come off. And there isn't no room for a grinder if you had to grind them off. So you probably have to torch them somehow. Next thing you have to do is there's bolts underneath the row units that hold the row unit onto the frame. This section's a row unit. It's over 300 pounds, I'm pretty sure. You have to unbolt it and take 3 row units off the frame. We did that with a skidler, and it was not fun. So I think we took this one off, that one off, and this one off. And then this row unit over here, you loosen the bolts and you slide it over. Because the reason you gotta take that off is that floor is tucked underneath the row unit. That's the only way you can get a new one in. You could probably cut the old one out, but to get a new one in, you gotta take everything apart. It was not fun at all. We also had to take that cage out of the way to get out of our way. Take it off to get it out of the way. And everything fought. Everything. You know, nothing went easy. Everything fought. Also, you gotta take the oil bath shield off, and we had to replace the oil and stuff like that to get the shaft out. Which, the oil in here, it was bad. It's probably a good thing. I don't know if we would have checked it, to be honest with you, but new gear oil on both sides. And then we had to put it back together. Like I said, we thought you just unbolt it and, you know, wiggle it out, but we learned the hard way. And we didn't know what we were doing, so we had to have some mechanics help us out, give us pointers and stuff like that. But about 5 days of work, 6 days. Yeah, it was not fun. I mean, this thing was 8 time away so fast. Next year, we'll probably hook up the auto header height. We need a box for the combine, and they're $1,000, which I don't really have enough to get it. I was a dumbass here, and I snapped this one off and this one off. Yeah, hopefully it holds. Otherwise, I gotta fix that. Here's the thing for the auto header height. But the auto header height stuff plugged into here, which is your flashers. We fixed those. They needed new light bulbs, and the wire for the ground broke on them. So the flashers do work on it, but we need a part in the combine that plugs into here, and then you can set the auto header height. But we can do that another year because we just spent money in this right now. I also bolted 2 flippers in here. It didn't have any for some reason, and the old head did. I read somewhere on the internet some people take them out because they cause the ears to go flying. But we had this cage here, so I don't know. There's a spot for 2 more. We might get 2 more. I guess we'll decide how we like this on here. The old corn head we had, the 494 had those, and they seemed to work pretty good. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Also, when we wanted to put the snoots back on, to get this stuff lined up in here, because we took the row units off, was kind of a pain in the ass, but we got it. Those clips are on there, so when you're combining along, you get the head too low, this will push up and not lift the whole snoot in the air, the top section. So it was not fun at all, but we got it, I guess. Just needs a tube of corn head grease on every row unit, and then the gathering chains and stuff greased. And the combine greased and filled up with diesel fuel, and we're ready to go.